Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, with Nechemia Peres. He is the managing partner and co-founder of Batango Venture Capital in Herzliya, Israel. Nechemia, again, just trying to get a sense for our audience on how things actually work. What were some of the sectors that were most affected by the mobilization that had to occur in the wake of the October 7th attacks?
I think the one that was supposed to be hurt most was the Israeli high-tech sector, especially
Right.
when you announce that Israel is a war zone. It doesn't help, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly enough, we have a very, very robust and resilient economy. The Israeli economy is quite significant. Our GDP is very high. It's about $55,000 per capita.
Right.
And altogether more than $500 billion GDP. The high-tech sector in the last 10 years has raised almost $100 billion. It has doubled its output and its export. It represents about 50% of the Israeli export, about 20% of the Israeli GDP, and about a third of the tax payment collection comes from this sector.
Right.
So
Right.
we are driving the economy very strong. And given the fact that we deliver no matter what, we sustain a very strong economy. What happened is that from 6.5% growth in 2022, we ended 2023 with slightly above 2%.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to grow this year. We have a very low debt. We have high reserves, cash reserves over 190 billion. So we are ready and prepared to move forward. And I hope that over time, more people from the reserve duty will be released back home and will continue to run the business. So it's a very resilient economy.
And I appreciate that, and I know you know a lot about that. We're going to return to that sector in just a moment, but I do want to get a sense, just because of the visual images we get, that another sector that has been impacted has been the farming and agricultural sector, and
Sure.
there's been a call out to Jews around the world to come to Israel to help pick the fruit and manage that part of the sector. Can you comment a little bit on that as well?
Yes, of course. The agriculture sector has been hurt because, of course, some parts of those fields are located very close to the border, and the farmers have been called for a reserve duty. It's amazing to see. One of the things that the civil society has done is getting together and coming and picking and planting and do all the farming work. People are not used to do it so much recently. But it was also very moving to see a lot of Jews from around the world traveling to Israel and, spending 2, 3, 4 days in a farm. I think it was an amazing experience for them as well.
Yeah.
It's really an amazing people. So we managed to take care of that part as well. I think another area that was hurt maybe is labors that have been fulfilled by Palestinians.
Right.
That are not allowed to access, mostly in the construction and building. But we find ways to manage and to recruit the talent that is needed to perform all these activities. We're
Now,
used to these kind of situations.
right. So again, forgive my ignorance, but let's say West Bank Palestinians, are they now forbidden to cross over to jobs in Israel at this point?
It's very limited. It's very limited. I wouldn't say completely forbidden, but very limited. I think that after what happened in October 7th and the notion of insecurity, when you hear Arabic speaking people in the streets, some ministers in the government were reluctant to open the gate.
Right.
I believe that at some point in time it will be more flexed. But the very first days it was really completely blocked.
Right.
And now I think it's very restricted and limited.
We have got about 40 seconds before the next break, but can you comment a little bit on the system to ensure that soldiers who are workers get time off to go back to their job? Is that system working now, or is it on hold?
Yes, I think those that are in mandatory service are now mostly taking care of the activities in Gaza and in the north, and a lot of people that have been in reserve duty have been released to breathe a little bit, to refresh. Some of them came back because they are very much needed.